Born ready.
Welcome everybody to episode 33 of PT Shop Talk. On today's episode, we review Casey's visit to the Align conference, and we finish up with our top 5 songs from the 2000s that have kind of soured on us over the years. With me today, as always, is Nick, It's My Life Doling, and Jeremy, Unleash the Dragon Van Klompenberg. Now, the Thong song is right on the edge. The album came out at the end of 99, but the single was released in 2000. So,
yeah.
All right.
It counts.
All right.
Thong song counts.
Yeah.
Cisco, baby.
I pictured you as
you
a Thong
enjoyed
song
that?
guy, Jeremy.
No, that wasn't my jam.
Man.
Not my jam.
Oh,
Sorry.
no,
And it didn't make my
Oh,
list.
come on.
Yeah.
geez.
You would have been a high schooler, just like getting your You didn't
Yeah.
even smirk when that came out.
Come on.
I w-
You weren't
it,
screaming
it
that.
was more like, is this guy serious? Silver hair. I don't know.
Man, Drew Hill. You never listened to Drew Hill before that?
No.
No. Okay.
I pegged you all
Sorry,
wrong.
guys.
Pegged
Sorry,
you
guys.
Not a
all
true
wrong.
R&B guy. No, guess not.
That's my bad. That's my bad. How's the
Yeah.
Bon Jovi hit?
I was not into that one. I was kind of feeling like they were ready to hang it up by that point.
Yeah, I felt like they were bringing in the auto tune a little bit.
It's my love. Yeah, he was trying too hard. JBJ.
Wow,
Just-
wow.
Just play the hits. That you get to a certain phase as a musician, just play your hits.
Hey, that song was big for him, though. I mean,
It was
that
huge.
must have-
You're right. You're right.
Must have sold a couple albums. I don't think he regrets releasing that.
Yeah, no, what do I know? I'm a freaking idiot. But he, I mean, that was a big hit. I just didn't care for it at all.
Yeah,
Well,
I hated it, but I
yeah.
didn't like any of his work, so couldn't
That's
make the
another-
list.
That should be another top 5 we'd cover is like bands that had surprising like second lives with either a hit song or album, you know?
Oh yeah,
That's kind of that would take
It
a
just
little
won't
bit
die.
deeper research, but
yeah, it's interesting. You wonder how similar our lists would be, because I mean that's a little more
Itch.
objective. Like, I mean, you
Yeah.
know they had a good second life or not really, but
Yeah,
what it meant to
there's
you,
not-
I
there-
guess.
What's
there
good
can't- I
mean?
can't.
I don't
I
know.
can't
You sell
imagine
lots of
that-
albums. Sorry, Jeremy. That's speak I'm talking about earlier.
Yeah,
You have hits. You sell albums.
Yeah. Well,
Concerts. The kids like you again.
and it doesn't seem like there'd be a huge number, right? It's like in any genre, once you kind of phase out into that next stage where you're like the classic rock or you're the classic artist,
you're playing
you don't
casinos.
seem-
you're
yeah,
on the
or-
casino track.
Yeah.
yeah, or you kind of fuse your powers together with a few other super groups and you do a stadium tour and you make your money,
Yeah, I think the big one for me, just off the cuff, is Aerosmith. I mean, that
Oh yeah.
big in the late 70s, that turned into absolute garbage, and then that resurgence in the late 80s, early 90s, where they're
Mhm.
probably
You
even
know what?
more popular. 100%
I was
they were
probably
more popular.
yeah, but I was probably quick to argue they were a little bit more of a steady band though. Yeah. I mean, like in terms of like releasing, oh yeah, you look back, the only thing you can really look at
Oh.
is like super early 80s. But by 85, I think, was that Permanent Vacation or 87?
I would guess later, but I'm not 100% sure offhand. I had
But
the
then,
cassette.
man, Pump was sweet. Pump was like good stuff. And,
Yeah. Well, that's why I mean, I'm not saying they like stopped, but I would say their popularity peaked like very early on for a
it
second
would be
album.
like, so what I would use it as, it would be like Limp Bizkit making a big banger right now.
Okay. The dad vibes, man, they're back.
It's got a fun, it's got a sweet little lick to it, but
It's a terrible
just-
song.
but that's not a hit. know?
No, it's not. It shouldn't be as popular as it is, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's
Mhm.
terrible. But
I'm looking
I
through my list.
I haven't heard it.
I have very few artists that are
Yeah, but-
still around, kind of kicking right now in my list. Yes, actually, I don't think any of them are.
I would say in my list, only one's not still kicking.
Oh, I'm intrigued now.
Mm. Well, here we are in fall. School's starting again, huh? I
I
mean,
love the way the booty goes.
yeah, it dumps like a truck. Yeah, it's
Oh,
Jeremy.
what?
We just got
What?
flagged.
What?
We just got
Favorite
flagged.
movie, but what?
Yeah. Oh, there's an algorithm for that for sure.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we talk about that one.
I was getting the old kiddos back to school there, Nick. Always exciting.
No, we'll
No,
start.
you guys
we'll find
don't
out.
start.
We'll
till-
find out Tuesday.
I forget Minnesota's after, huh?
No, not everybody, just different
really?
districts. Yeah, we're actually the late ones around here.
Hmm.
So we got one final little family vacay out to the Black Hills, and then we're coming back Monday and kicking them out the house.
Unless you get
Boom.
lost in Cosmos.
Oh, Cosmos, huh?
Yep.
Go on. You've never been there? You got lost there?
No, it's this. You've never been?
Nope.
Oh, it's just like
Mhm.
a place with like a ton of optical illusions in the middle of the Black Hills.
Huh.
Might check it out.
Like you go into like the cabin and you get smaller as you walk to the end, and you can have two people
It's like a
stand
wi-
next to each other, and one person,
Ooh.
the smaller person, looks way bigger. Just little things
Did-
like that. The
so it's-
balls roll uphill.
copyright infringement on Willy
South
Wonka and the
Dakota's
chocolate.
biggest mystery.
Jeremy, it's like a Bermuda
Wow.
Triangle. They have a
Wow.
whole spiel about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Dolan, I'll send this over, Dolan. You
Do it. I'll look it up.
you guys gotta go hit that.
We
Yeah,
got a
get
few
your
we got a
mind
few
blown.
things planned out. When I was in Guatemala, I was in Guatemala the first time, and our guide took us to this one point on a hill called Paseo de Misterio, and
Passage
It's
of the
pretty sweet.
Mysterious.
yes, pretty much. And I-
Rey
Language.
Mysterio.
I thought Rey Mysterio Jr. I thought it was unique to that area, but then I looked it up when I got home, did some research, and apparently there's multiple of these around the world. But because of it creates a topographical illusion where you're actually they come to a stop, or they put the vehicle in neutral,
Mm.
and it appears as though you're downhill, and when they put it in neutral, it appears you roll uphill. But it's
Yeah,
because of the topography around you, it gives this like weird illusion, and it is freaky, but it's really cool.
Yeah, I've seen videos of those. I didn't realize there was a bunch of those either.
Yep, multiple.
So there's one in the Black Hills. Is that or
Sounds
is
like
for
it if the balls are
Okay.
rolling uphill.
Okay.
Yeah.
referring to Cosmos? Are you gonna hot air balloon? That was a big thing my wife and I tried to do once when we were in the Black Hills.
I thought you told us weeks ago we're gonna die if we hot air balloon it.
Well, you seem like you were willing to risk your life on everything. So
I always
I'm
am.
giving you options.
I always am.
Right
Kind of
south. You can.
You're kind
hot
of
air
a throw
balloon.
caution in the wind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hot air balloon
yeah.
right by Mount Rushmore. You can land
Live
on
my
top.
life pretty much live my life like Bodie from Point Break, like every day. And you're like a Johnny Utah. I hope you're coming along.
I'm like a bubble boy. That old hit.
Are you really? You're that squeamish?
I wouldn't say squeamish, but like when it comes to
Skittish?
skittish is a good term. I'm not gonna risk my
Skittish,
life.
yeah, sorry.
Skittish.
I was incorrect earlier.
Yeah, I don't want to risk my life on anything.
I literally told a patient today about your zip lining fear.
Oof, it's real.
He thinks you're a freaking nut job.
Ugh. Yeah,
He's
until,
72.
yeah. Wait till the eagle
What's
comes
he got
by.
to lose?
Take
He's
his glove
no.
off.
He thinks no. Where are you at, Clumper? He thinks Casey's a nut job. He's this old dude's zip line like 4 times in his life.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that he doesn't have anything to lose. He's
Yeah, of course he's
72.
not afraid to zip line.
He's-
He
he's-
could lose all his fingers for all he cares.
Man, the
I
way
told him
our
about the
life
finger loss, and he just
Oh.
like started laughing. He would have laughed you out of the room, Sally boy.
Mm-mm-mm.
the way our life expectancy is going, like he's there.
4 years. You guys hear about that?
He's there.
4 years.
We're just dropping like flies.
This just come out recently. This is a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah.
U.S.
Cool.
life expectancy is back to where it was in 1996.
So what is
I-
it? 74
you know what?
then? What is it?
74 or 76.
Is that for
Somewhere in
a male? For a male?
I think so.
Because there's always like a 2-year difference usually between men and women. Women outlive us, fellas. Sorry to break it to you.
Well, you
Lowest
gotta
levels
live with
since-
them. That's why. Sorry,
The
for
worst
female listeners.
2-year decline in a century.
Wow. Good for us.
Yeah,
you
we're
go.
doing it, everybody. How many of those
Nine-
are zip lining deaths though? I mean, that's a huge statistic.
You know
There
what?
is I bet a correlation
with-
between zip lining
Did they do it? Did
use.
You guys got to look it up. I'm just saying,
Did
it's
did
never
they
been more
die
popular.
from zip lining, or did they die with zip lining?
okay.
Oh, good question.
Death with zip lining.
Not by with.
Yeah. Casey had a heart attack while he was going down.
He didn't
So
die
it's a
from the zip
lining
line.
induced death. Oh no, not my friend, not my friend Casey.
Too soon.
He knew it
Nick.
was
And
going to
then
happen. He
And
knew
then
it was
right as
gonna
you're
gonna-
laying there, I'm like,
you're-
dude,
you're
at
gonna-
least you got all your fingers, bro.
Look at you. Then like an eagle comes down and picks my eyeballs out. I'm like,
That's
I
not
knew
the
it.
same. You
I
can't
knew
blame it on
it.
someone.
It's a factor. It's a
Is
factor.
it- is it-
Should have zip line. But yeah,
Fire
going
with.
back, going back to night death with zip lining. I do think if you go back, 96 was a cool year though. I mean, there's
Yeah.
some cool stuff going on. So I mean, it ain't all bad.
You think that's why life expectancy was low then? It was just badass time, and now it's a badass time.
Maybe. The NWO just formed. Remember that, Casey?
Yeah. How could I
I mean, there's
forget?
good stuff going on. Life seemed exciting in 96.
Yeah, it's
Politics weren't crazy. Like Bill Clinton's running as Bob Dole, and you're like, wow, this is like the most boring presidential election ever. And now it's just a freaking reality show nonstop.
Yeah.
it's a powder keg for sure. Waiting to blow.
Mhm.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen around the old bend right now, which is that's all right. I mean, I'm learning to live. I'm learning to adjust.
Do you think our world right now is just a simulation to entertain aliens?
Oh, so you think aliens are like just messing with us now to see? It's like when I played like Sim City and I just messed with people.
Yeah, like there's an evil producer alien that's just like, oh, this isn't exciting enough. Let's throw a disease at them.
Okay.
That'll be exciting. That'll get eyeballs on the screen.
It's the Truman Show for aliens.
Yeah. They're like, oh, look at this Donald Trump guy elected. Man.
See what happens. They're just
Yeah.
messing
Let's
with those
shake it
votes
up.
behind the
Oh,
scenes.
shake
no.
it
Oh, did you see that? Now we're gonna raid his place and we're alive. That's good shit.
If we are for the aliens that watch me in my free time, I'm sorry. You should have. I hope.
It's not.
I hope they
no,
gave you an NC-17.
And who would choose for us to do a podcast?
No, it's not like that, dude. Like we still get enough free will. It's like we're in the Matrix. They're giving us just enough belief. In
They can
free will.
only alter certain characteristics.
Yeah. They're like influencing it from afar in some ways,
Okay.
But
Okay.
the main show is like the news, right? Like the stuff we're consuming as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. That's.
I can really dig that.
Yeah, I'm not against it, I guess.
I've heard crazier things. Our colleague Tom told me Tuesday night. We all know. Shout out to Tom Sullivan and Albert Lee. I think he's listening.
He's-
to this.
He's a flat earther, isn't he?
He's a believer in Atlantis. So shout out to Tommy.
Oh, okay.
That's a good guy.
Oh, well, that's exciting. I spent a lot
like
of time
that.
with him, and I
He's
didn't know
giggling
that
and
was a
laughing about
thing.
it. But yeah.
Yeah.
I believe in Sasquatch to a point.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
That's like that's my weirdest thing, as far
Is
as
that?
like-
Are you paid by
Either-
Big Stone to say that line? Is that?
no.
Big
But it
hairy
was driven.
squatch.
It was driven from the messing with Sasquatch angle this year. But, no, I do. Case, what about you? You got a little
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Bigfootings?
think. I think the most ridiculous thing I believe in. I'm not like totally against like potentially being ghosts, I guess. Some sort of spirit energy. I mean, I'm definitely not sold on it either. I'm not like, oh yeah, that's ghosts. But
Oh, way to leave yourself an out.
So, what kind of ghosts do we got? I mean, what are they? How are they existing? Like, in what plane? Are they like in another ethereal plane that we can't see all the time? They're just floating between dimensions.
yeah, like
Good
they must be trapped between here and wherever you go next, depending on what you believe. So they're
Yeah.
like in a stuck, like in a little in-betweener land, I suppose.
Kind of like
kinda come and go.
kind of like a purgatory.
I don't know if I'd say a purgatory, because like that, I feel like purgatory is like a complete different thing. Like
Yeah.
go off into your isolation. Well, I feel like they're just like they got lost along the way. They can see a little bit of this plane. They can try to have a feeling like they need to go somewhere else, but they can't get there. Lost in the background.
I'm gonna
Static.
consider this, Jeremy. Your weirdest little like thing you believe in, supernatural or otherwise. I mean, okay.
It's not weird. I mean, I would say like
Oh.
I dig. Oh, you're like, wow, defensive.
He's like, this is
Gotta be
real.
weird.
This ain't weird. It's
Yeah,
just
guys.
real.
It's not weird when it's real
Sam,
things you believe
Damn,
in.
Sam
You guys-
Squanch.
No, it would definitely. I think there's got to be aliens out there, right? Like, you ever watch Ancient Aliens? If you get bored sometime, throw that on. I like when you see like
They're watching us.
people that have never had connection with the outside world, and they see this like carved bird that they're like, this is to scale, it would fly. You know, you're like, how? Right? Like it's just like perfectly smooth, or some of the architecture where it's just like looks like it was laser cut, 2,000 years ago. Just like
That's
really intricate.
You just don't think the people around had the finesse to do it back then that well?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Hmm.
So
Hater in the
Yeah.
house.
See, I believe people just had
why can't you just believe?
amazing amount of time on their hands.
Did you?
It's like-
you didn't answer my question about Sasquatch.
I believe
Okay.
he's up in the UP.
Oh, you guys.
He's not in the UP. You just sell a bunch of merch with him on there.
Yeah.
He's like, I think he's in like northern Montana. I think he's like around Glacier Park and like Canada. I think there's multiple.
Couldn't he
I was
be?
gonna say, you think it's one dude?
No,
Yeah.
no, it's not a dude, Casey. It's another being.
You don't think he can be a dude?
Them,
He might have.
Is it
He might have.
Is it a them?
I don't want to assume his pronouns. Come on, Casey.
Well, dude,
Oh.
dude can be a pronoun.
Oh,
You can be a
that's-
female dude, male
you-
dude. I'm just saying. You think he's just like
Have you
cool
been on
and
That
Twitter
is-
lately? I mean, what's your
That's
pronoun?
presumptive.
he, him? Is that correct? Is that how I'm supposed to say?
I think you're right. If that's what you believe in. I did
Okay.
see a video posted the other day of a gal who wants to be they or clown/clown self because she identifies as a clown. Which I have to
Oh,
believe her. I mean, that's not even that's like a built-in punchline,
Yeah.
but it's real. It's like the furries, like the people who identify as cats and dogs.
Yeah. I mean, I
So
guess if it makes you happy, I'm
What?
that's a
whatever.
clown
What the
question,
hell?
bro.
As a clown, you are a clown.
I didn't say it was a clown statement. You're.
Oh, that's hurtful. Oh my goodness. What's happening?
We're kind of like got this pissy vibe today.
Yeah, we took a week off, and you guys are so mean now.
I was so
Saucy.
excited to see.
Always
I was
mean?
really excited to see you guys.
Or was
I
I
was
just
too.
hanging around with like real nice people, and I realized?
No, I was
what it's
just
like?
saying. I wasn't calling you
What?
a clown. I wasn't calling you a clown.
Jeremy, it hurt. It hurt.
It was misconstrued.
See, the aliens.
was-
The aliens are enjoying this now.
That was not my intent.
Huh?
Can we come to the pool of shared meaning? No.
Okay. Okay. State your
Tell,
All right,
tell me
fine.
more. Yeah.
state your truth, Jeremy.
I I was not trying to hurt your feelings, Casey. I apologize.
Apology
Can
accepted.
can we please move forward?
We sure can. Well, let's move forward
I love-
on
we
the
just-
old topic.
You know what?
Now that our
So-
vision is aligned,
Score one for
Oh,
friendship. But
like
the
the Alliance
aliens are
Conference?
so bored right now.
Yeah, we gotta move on. Move on. Yeah, as I did not put on Facebook because I'm bad with social media sometimes. We were gone last week. I participated in the Align Conference 2020 down in Dallas, Texas. What is it? Friday, Saturday,
You said
Sunday, 3-day conference.
2020.
2022. If that's
Gotcha.
correct year.
I was-
Yep, sorry.
Wasn't sure. Your makeup
There's
date.
so many twos. So many twos. This was my fourth or fifth time. I can't remember. They blend a little bit. Our last two were virtual. So this is the first one back in action in person. So that was kind of fun. The old flying thing's always grand. I I think I mentioned this on the show. I had to take a different later flight. My son started kindergarten, so instead of flying out at 6 a.m, I had to move her to the afternoon. Which that's always great when you change your tickets, because they really bend over backwards for you when you do that. So I went from like having a very nice seat to a classic back of the plane situation, like the last person to get on. And boy, I walked all the way back and I saw my nice window seat. There was a gentleman sitting there, and I was like, "Well, that's my seat, sir." And he's like, "Oh, would you switch with my wife?" And okay, whatever. Switch
Nice
with
guy.
your wife. Yeah, I don't really care. The guy next to his wife, twice my size. I'm like, oh, and he had the window seat, so I had to lay in the aisle for about 3 hours. So that was a joy. But I will say, Fargo Airport no longer makes you take all your crap out of your bag. I always just fly with a backpack.
Yeah,
So
me
you don't have
too.
to take your laptop out or anything anymore. That's nice.
Wow.
Much faster. Just kicked my sandals off and threw my bag on there, and away I went. Do you guys? Yeah, you guys sandal it up on an airplane, or do you feel weird like being
No.
like barefoot on
No.
an airplane?
Boat shoe. I'm a
That's
boat
weird.
shoe, slip-on shoe guy.
Okay.
I wear whatever my attire requires. I'm not.
I
I'm
hate-
What
usually
are you
tennis
required
shoes.
to
Do you
do
like-
on an airplane that's gonna
tennis
change your
shoes?
attire?
Do you lace anything up though?
Isn't that a
I-
hassle when you go through
I
security?
usually have fairly slippy shoes, so
Yeah.
I go shorts and 3/4, obviously, and sandals every time.
Without saying.
Because they don't make you take the 3/4 off. They don't consider that a jacket. Shorts, just comfy, cozy. I guess if it's winter, I go sweaty sweats. Only time I don't do that is if like I'm flying into something I have to present at and I have to present that day. I do wear like my suit then, just in case my crap gets lost. But that's the only time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I
Yeah.
completely go as like comfy as I possibly can. Because I did have that happen once where I like flew in sweats and they lost my luggage and I had to like present at a group gathering for back when I consulted, and I was like, this is gonna suck. Luckily I landed in enough time to the airport to like go to Brooks
Halberstadt.
Brothers or whatever. Yeah, Halberstadt, the nationwide. Whatever the suit place was in the airport, and like buy some dress clothes for
They do
way
generally
too much
have at least
money.
one place if you go to a bigger airport. They'll have
Yep.
one like
Yeah, Brooks
suit
Brothers
place.
is usually a pretty popular one. So
Yeah.
had to do that once, not going to do that again. But no, Dallas was nice. I arrived at like 5-6 o'clock. And when I fly, I'm like, I got zero desire to do anything when I land. So I get to my room and I'm like, I'm going to order a pizza.
Yeah, that's right. You order pizza.
And I don't want to order anything that's not like local. So like I get on the old internet and I find something local, and I hate calling to order. So I was like, I'm gonna ordered online. And I'm probably real bad at looking at like cost of things. So I order it and then I'm like kind of looking at
$80 pizza.
Well, I looked at my bill afterwards and it was like $50. I was like, oh, that's kind of spendy for like pizza and a soda and like some breadsticks. Well,
Yeah.
it turned out I accidentally ordered 2 larges. So I called the place and I'm like, hey, I accidentally ordered 2 larges online. Can you just knock one off? And they're like, oh, we use a third party like on our website, so there's nothing we can do. They're like, we can send you 1 pizza if you'd like, but you're still gonna get charged for 2. You can dispute that with your credit card. I'm like, oh, that seems like a lot of work.
That's how they get you.
Yeah,
Yep.
I said,
And then you don't
said-
even get the pizza.
said send them both. I don't want you to spit on my food. And the hotel's the kind of hotel where you have to like key card into the elevator to get to your room. So obviously the pizza guy gets there and they call me, hey, your pizza's down here, sir. I hope you and your family are real hungry. Looks good. I go down, and the Align conference is a small conference and you kind of know everybody. So I'm like, I hope nobody sees me grab 2 large pizzas.
Don't be so sensitive and insecure. Come
breadsticks.
on.
I am. So
You're
I
a
get
tough
this.
boy. Come on.
Well, I care what people think about me.
You're-
I'm not too proud
That's
to
a
say
big
that.
weakness. Come on, we know that.
Yeah,
You're not a weak. You're a big strong boy.
Okay, it's okay to like have a normal
Just give him
public
that.
persona.
Yeah, come on.
You're a big, strong boy.
I feel bad now.
So I get down there.
You eat those pizzas, Case.
I would have thought the same thing, Casey.
Yeah, so I
would've.
get down there. This guy gives me my
What?
pizzas, my
They would have been like,
breadsticks.
look at this horse.
Yeah,
2
right.
pizzas?
And I'm
Yeah.
not a small man anyway, so people are
Yeah.
like,
Me
Bulk season.
either.
"Ah, dude's
Bulk
eating them
season,
pizzas."
bitch.
yeah, right. So I get in the elevator, and there's a nice couple in there, and they're like, "Oh, that's a lot of pizza. I hope it's not just you." And I laugh and I go, "It is." And so I proceeded to eat this pizza over the course of about.
Were you like, God,
Start
I just want to keep
crying.
rolling on it. Were you like, you nosy bastard?
Yeah, all right. I'm like, this is my nightmare. This is my hell come true. Get back to my
What's it to-
room.
What's it to you if I eat 2 pizzas?
They're
True.
like, we're just worried about your health, sir. I don't think that's good for your heart. So yeah, I eat like 10 slices of pizza over the course of like 4 hours because we have a mini fridge in our room, but not like a normal
Yeah.
fridge. So if you
Yeah.
and they have like tape on the fridge, so if you open it, like even if you don't use anything in there, they charge you a $7 restocking fee.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm already like 20 extra bucks into this pizza situation, so I'm not gonna spend another $7 to save this pizza.
Right.
It's weird. Sounds like you really got shafted down there.
Yeah, no, it goes uphill from there. So the next
Oh,
morning,
good.
get up, very full, very sick from all that pizza. Head down. The Align conference is always kind of a cool conference. Like I said, small, I would guess under 200 people total, with everything. There's an online component too, so I don't know exactly how many people there are. You can look on the app, says 100, 120 in the main room, but I don't know how accurate that is. But I would think based on what I saw there, that's pretty accurate. But they do break down into the first day's lab. So you do a 4-hour lab in the morning, 4-hour lab in the afternoon. The next day is just 8 hours of like keynotes, talks. This year they did a lot of panels. It was all everybody
Yeah.
did a lecture, and then they got back together, did a panel. They did that every 2 hours. And then Sunday you do another lab, so you get 3 labs in. So the first lab I went to was like neurodynamics and sensory integration, so things like laterality, 2-point discrimination, localization, those
Any
kind of
new
things.
stuff there?
Yeah, so some interesting stuff. We briefly talked on neurodynamics a while ago, Jeremy, when I remember when you said, there's just doesn't seem like there's that much research that's changed since 1980, whenever Butler was doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't say there was anything like
Coppeteers.
mind-blowing. Yeah, and he's still rocking out lots of it. Shacklock and Coppeteers are kind of the 2 big guys now. But the research is still pretty small on the things they do. But they did say, it's grown a lot. If you look like this year or last year, I suppose 21, there was 225 articles published on neurodynamics. So the research is improving, from 5 to 10 a year to well into the 200s. Some cool stuff I saw that they had up there. They talked about foraminal opening technique, right? Nerves need movement, space, blood flow. So that foraminal opening technique is where you pretty much lay in side lying, affected side up, and then you let your legs hang over the edge of the table, so it induces side bending.
Yeah,
and you
side
can do a
bending.
little rotation too. It's a
Like a
technique
QL release.
I suppose maybe it's similar to that. I'm not
Similar.
familiar with that. I suppose you'd have to believe in myofascial.
Sounds very
techniques.
Releasing things.
This whole thing
Yeah.
sounds very biomechanical, Casey.
Well, it's there's biomechanics to it, right? Nerves leave your foramen. So yeah, that's the thought.
Yes, there are facts of anatomy too.
If you believe if you believe in ghosts, why don't you believe in MFR?
No shit.
I don't know. I feel like ghosts are easier to believe in.
What if trigger points are the ghosts of
I've-
past injuries?
Okay. Now we're talking.
Oh, now we're going.
Now we're getting in the
baby.
nitty gritty.
Let's go.
Do we need to have another talk on that? Maybe you can convince me.
Maybe.
Oh, this is a technique you didn't use last time. This is a different angle. But anyways, they talked about a study where they had normal therapy, and then they had normal therapy with this foraminal opening technique for people that were admitted for severe leg pain with back pain. And it was a very small study, 20 participants, so 10 and 10. But The foraminal opening technique group used like almost no pain medicine in the hospital, less than half of what the normal therapy group used. So pretty cool, way less pain, way higher function on discharge, plus no adverse effects.
I like that. That sounds
you know,
good. I'm gonna make a mental note of that.
Yeah, so and it's an easy technique. If you have somebody, you can show it to them. They can do it at home pretty easily, right? I've used that technique before, but not very consistently. So it might be something I want to bring back into the fold just for an easy HEP thing.
Can
For
you cite
people
your
with
sources right now? Can you do that?
well,
No,
I don't
I was
know.
kidding. I don't really know.
Okay. It's a
Send it-
Shacklock study. I know that.
Email it
Shacklock
to
from
me.
2022. So within the last 8
Oh.
months, you can find it.
What
they-
journal?
Oh, I don't know. Journal of Mind Your Own Business, Nick.
Listen, you are such an insecure dude right now. Come on, toughen up.
Well, where am I going to find this? This is live /
I thought you were
recorded.
taking notes. I thought you were prepared.
How many notes you want me to take? I will gladly.
them.
I'll post it. You want me? I'll
You're
post it on
obviously
Facebook.
blabbering on about this foraminal opening technique. I figured you had some resources.
I have 75 other things to tell you today. I have to be selective.
I apologize to our listeners,
Be
wanted to
concise.
but we will keep it interesting.
That's other interesting facts. Yeah, because they love sources, Nick. That's very
They
interesting.
do. They do.
Don't.
Otherwise,
They
you could just
don't.
you're just making it up.
We did our trigger point thing, and I promised people to give resources. I did it. No one said anything.
There's a study by Schmammerman. Schmammerman.
Shacklock's a very real person. If you and Jeremy want to spend 2 minutes talking to each other about
Matlock.
something, I'll find
I'm
it
looking.
for you.
I'm looking. I'm
Matlock.
looking it up.
That was a good show. That
Yeah,
was
keep
a
going.
good
Keep going. Do I have to do this for like every single thing I say?
No.
from now on? Okay.
Hey,
Good, let's move
Casey,
on.
I'm not even being serious. I'm messing around.
I'm a man who's eaten almost 2 pizzas in one sitting.
Yeah, get over it, bro. I would love to be in that position.
No, you wouldn't. Trust me. That's the life I lived.
I've done food quantity challenges before. I understand the pain and discomfort.
Yeah, but this wasn't even like pain. This was just internal shame. That was all it was.
See, you're just dwelling now. What would you tell your patients?
Well, you shouldn't have ate 2 pizzas. That's not healthy for you.
Yeah. What would you tell them? Like, let that defeat you? Let it carry on a week
I said,
later?
let that shame enter your mind every time you think about ordering pizza again, and never order 2 pizzas again.
Oh, sure seems like it's like the weighted blanket for your emotions right now. It's like just
That's real.
weighing you down.
You feel like that the shame is comforting to me?
No, I think it's weighing you down. I think it's
Oh,
smothering you.
but I thought weighted blankets were a positive. Isn't that like a
Depends on how you look at it. You ever
Okay.
slept in one? They're not
Oh.
all that comfortable.
Oh yeah, I just got one for my wife, and I have a 20-pounder.
You
It's a
have a
solid
20
blanket.
pounder?
I'm a big man.
See, it's not
supposed to be
comfortable.
like
It's not
10% of your body weight.
All right, go on. I think I'm sorry. Go on.
Are you sure?
No.
You ready? You ready?
No.
All right,
Let's
I'll
go
try
to
to
our
fly.
top 5.
I'll try to fly through this. I'm trying to bring research and evidence to the audience and talk about new stuff. You're getting bogged down. You're getting mired down. All right. They had a cool study on neurodynamics and multiple sclerosis as far as
Oh.
improving sensation, decreasing pain, upper extremity. They did actually 5 minutes of sliders for median, radial, and ulnar. Was the
Yeah.
study 5 minutes each.
Oh.
So pretty
Like
pretty
nonstop?
high. Yep,
Just nonstop
nonstop.
flossing?
5 minutes of it. 5 minutes of it.
Wow.
But again, pretty good results on something that typically you don't see. They did say that using an ankle bias on a straight leg raise is reliable. You
Oh.
can use ankle dorsiflexion as a differentiator.
Hmm.
They're looking at nerve length and things. It does affect it. Same with head movement with upper limb tension tests for folks. But also, if you don't use dorsiflexion, straight leg raise is not a reliable test at all for nerve stuff. So if
Ooh.
you're not adding dorsiflexion, get the F out, as they say. You're not doing anything. Range of motion is not reliable, side to side even. Cross leg raise is also not a reliable measure of anything. And if you're a diabetic
but
mouse,
a straight leg. You're talking about
Nerve sliders are
neurodynamics, though, right? You're saying it's not useful for assessment of neurodynamics.
correct. Yep. You can't
Yeah.
say I did a straight leg raise without dorsiflexion. They had 50
Yeah.
degrees on the left, 70 on the right. It must be a nerve issue, right? You can't
Unless you bias into dorsiflexion.
unless you bias into dorsiflexion and see a difference.
Okay, I can go with that. I'm fine with that.
So, stuff we know, but just a good reminder that you really
Mhm.
do need to do that stuff. You can't get sloppy
Yeah.
with them. And when we broke out into lab, that was interesting too, because they talked about, you can't use the neck for a straight leg raise. That doesn't work because the spine's in neutral, so the spinal cord isn't wound up. But the other leg is viable. So they say, really make sure when you're doing a straight leg raise that, the other leg is in neutral, well aligned. And they went as far as to say the guy teaching it said he often even brings his leg up, puts it on the thigh of the other leg. And we did that. And it is surprising the different amount of tension when you have your leg on top of that contralateral leg holding it there in place. And then you can lift your leg up and feel the difference in pressure. So that's kind of interesting. I can't say it's something I've ever done before. So,
Well, let's do.
so just good word of advice. And same with those patients that, you can't lay them flat. They have to kind of be in a hook lying position. And, it's probably wise then when you get them into that tension place to see what happens if they try to do like a heel slide with that other side.
Yeah.
See, because that can be a differentiator, but there's not the same kind of research on that as there's with dorsiflexion. But interesting techniques you can do with your friends just to see how it feels too. Otherwise, like the laterality, 2-point discrimination, localization, can't say there was much new in that. Total refresher. Next one I went to was shoulder exam by Rob Mansky. That he's a George Davies disciple, so can't say there was as much new there. He did 3 special tests for like everything in the shoulder. So good content, good review. I'm probably biased towards not doing that many provocative tests on somebody, but plus it's a lot of time. And I think you get a lot of false positives when you do 25 shoulder tests, but he had a nice he had a nice he had a nice little talk on return to sport though after he did specifically shoulder injury, but really any injury, just kind of giving that algorithm of when you decide when it's time to test, whether it's protocol or cleared by surgeon, range of motion, 25% isokinetic strength, 15% isokinetic strength, closed chain. With the shoulder, he talked about hand tapping, right? 21 hand taps for females, 23 for males. As you
I like that.
as you pass each level, then you get to test the next level. So after that, it's that one arm seated shot put, followed by the functional throwing performance index, followed by under Keffler overhead softball throw, then sport specific testing. So it's just that algorithm. Each level, you have a set mark you have to hit. If you don't hit it, you go back in and you work on your next couple therapy sessions based on reaching that. And really, unless you have a nice set like that, you really shouldn't be overtly, you should be cautious and have a nice algorithm if you're going to return people to sport.
Who was that?
Rob Mansky.
Okay.
The Shocker, Wichita State.
Oh,
Yep. So
I was just curious. You said he's a Davies disciple.
Yep. And he's published some good research too on it. So
Wilk had one. I don't think he was on that article, but like in a couple years back, and I think that's where they first started to talk about the shot put throw, wasn't it?
yeah, and the shot put throws kind of cool because it doesn't matter which arm's injured, whereas some of those tests, if you look at a true just throwing test, you can't really compare your involved to your uninvolved, right? Because if you get something like a softball throw, my involved is probably way better than my uninvolved at it. But with the seated shot put, it's such an awkward movement that your arms are probably pretty equal.
Yeah.
Most people don't practice a shot put. So it's a very good comparison left to right. So kind of cool little test too. So that was his spiel. Then we went into the normal talks. I thought there was a cool talk when we got into the panel stuff about spirituality and therapy. That was pretty cool. they talked about how powerful it is,
Still doesn't believe in MFR.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
But they did a study where they had like Catholics looking at like a picture of the Virgin Mary versus a picture of the Mona Lisa, doing like a pain tolerance test, and how typically they can do like twice as much. Whereas he took an atheist with those two pictures, zero difference between the two. So that's just kind of cool little stuff like that. I think it's kind of a cool message too about the classic, we don't talk about religion and politics in therapy, but maybe it's okay, and maybe we should lean on that spirituality a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool stuff like if you're comfortable with it and the patient's comfortable with it, they're having a bad day, like it's probably not the end of the world to pray with your patient. You mind if we pray on this? I know you're having a hard time. Like, it shouldn't be that like taboo.
Yeah, definitely.
that was pretty cool. And I like the question they said they like to ask, like, where do you draw your strength from? That was kind of a cool little question. When times are tough, where do you draw your strength? Instead of just flat out having the religious conversation, sometimes that's a good window for people. Maybe it is prayer, maybe it's the family, maybe it's whatever, but it gives you that tool too.
Yeah,
It can give you an
like
opening.
Right, it's always been identified as a domain of wellness, right?
Mhm.
So like you said, just like that fact that a lot of times it's just maybe a little bit more taboo, but yeah, a lot of good underlying stuff on like how people deal with pain, how people deal with terminal illness, things like that, where you're right completely.
Yeah, they did a cool study on like brain chemistry and brain processing and painful experiences, and spiritual people process pain differently on
Yeah.
different centers of the brain. So that's kind of cool too. If you can lean on it, it's powerful. So
Mhm.
that was a cool
Yeah.
talk.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah, something different. Keith Smart did a pretty cool talk just on pain mechanisms. Again, I don't think that'd be anything new for you guys, but he's kind of the guy that came up with like nociplastic, neuropathic versus nociceptive pain, those three different buckets, and how we need to kind of find out percentages and have a good idea what's going on with your patient to drive your treatments. So he just kind of reviewed that stuff. He did say somebody was challenging him, thinking they needed to add more. 3 wasn't enough.
Huh.
So the fourth one they were talking about was like autonomic systemic pain. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Said,
interesting.
right now that kind of gets lumped into nociplastic pain, but you can probably have, endocrine changes and hormonal changes and immune response changes without nociplastic changes. So
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. Oh, people keep digging into that one.
Yeah, I thought that was good. So he said he was actually meeting this guy now, and they were gonna kind of delve into it, look at the evidence, and so maybe that's gonna change soon. Maybe the 3 buckets will become 4 or 5. Who knows? I don't think we want to get it too complicated. I guess you don't want to end up in headache world where you have like 280 different kinds of headaches. But
Yeah.
Adrian Lowe gave a nice talk on orthopedics and pain. Again, nothing major there either. Just kind of we talk about the pendulum swing. We've talked about that plenty of times. Like, we need to not swing so far to pain neuroscience. Like, be a normal therapist that uses pain neuroscience. Don't be the guy in the room 3 with the incense and meditation and it's okay
coming
to use
from the man
stuff.
himself. I mean, that's good stuff.
He was fired up about it. He said we got to treat people. We can't just ignore all the other stuff.
Yeah, like the biomechanical stuff. Like
right. Yep, all that stuff. You wait, Nick Doling. There is going to be a bomb dropped in about 10 minutes here.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. Next talk was Mark Jones. He's a pretty big researcher. He's talking about bias in our evals, bias in how we treat patients.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a ton of it. There's bias in everything you do, bias in every profession, but kind of talked about what they called nudges and boosting, ways to avoid bias or ways to recognize it.
Yeah.
So like he's said with nudges, right? We need to be really, really structured with how we do our exams. Like doing an exam off the cuff just leads to a ton of bias. You know,
Mhm.
the new grads that follow that checklist probably have a lot less bias in their evals than, you know, seasoned clinicians do. And that's maybe not a bad thing, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Just talked about critical reasoning framework, you know, taking courses on that, really adhering to practice guidelines. Because it's crazy how many therapists don't use practice guidelines, don't adhere to them, don't even know about them. It's like less than 50%, I think, based on the research. So, you know, we're creating a lot of bias by not doing that. And we talked
It'd be
about that.
great, but I mean, the counter to that, it would be great if most of them spoke to like true recommendations or had, you know, had
A, B,
found like
C.
strong evidence to support stuff. But I mean, I'd really like to, the last few that I've looked at, it's very few and far between in which they're really recommending any type of intervention with strong support in the literature.
Yeah, I think it's just about, you at least better be doing the stuff that has that, you know. I mean, if there's A quality stuff, you should be doing it, you know, and you should at least try
But
to
again,
use a
the
framework.
CPGs go down to the biggest issue I have with that is they're deconstructing it down to the singular interventions for the most part, with the one exception of where they generally blend manual therapy and therapeutic exercise together as like a, you know, beneficial outcome. But yeah, if you go through them and they're talking about like heel pain, they break that down in like orthotics, poor outcomes, right?
Mhm.
Or evidence to support it. Same thing with like laser and your modalities and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
it's not
so
really the way we deliver it, though.
but there are some therapists that do, you know. I mean, like, oh, everybody with heel pain gets laser. All right, like, maybe you
Yeah,
need
but
to,
is it the only thing they're doing?
hard to say, but I mean, is it even worth doing, period? I
I
don't care what the
I don't
person
do
says.
laser. I'm not going to speak. I have no bias one way or another against laser. But I think this is like where you get into the minutia of what does it matter, right? Like you're never going to eliminate people's biases, anyways.
Oh,
And
but I
if
think
people,
if you can reduce the noise, you know, a little bit, that's better than just saying, yeah, people have bias. Good, you know, just go do your thing.
yeah, I think you got to manage it. But at the same time, I mean, some biases or experience can support a little bit of what you do, especially if you're a good, solid practitioner with reputable outcomes that are there consistently year over year. I think there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah, there is.
I
I
think
mean, that's
I would
bullshit. It's
say
such a cop out to just sit there and be like, well, it depends on if you trust photo. It depends if you believe. Well, fuck you. Show me what you do believe in. Give me
oh,
some. Again, it goes back to this point where it's so easy to crap over so many other things, but stand on something, actually prove it.
so the proof is the tough thing. I agree with that. But I would say bias is a good thing too, right? We talked about that in the residency where they're like bias positivity, bias your patients by not using the word pain, right? Like
Yeah.
their bias is there, and you're right, it's how we use it. But then I would agree with Casey to the standpoint of saying like some people can use again, they don't recognize it as much and they like it entrenches a belief, right? But I would argue that you should have that ability again to like continually self-reflect and say, do I have repeatable outcomes or is this just what I do, right? And I would, to your point, Nick, I would say too many people are like, well, yeah, I'm going to use ultrasound and photo doesn't matter, right? Like but my patients get better, right? Like Casey and I were talking about this before you hopped on. It's just like show me what better is.
Yeah.
Like what is better?
Right? I'm not standing up for that. I'm not sticking up for that.
No, I know.
And I just had a call with a leader yesterday who's like, man, he had a disagreement with a staff member and they're talking about how they're going to do kind of things their way. They're going to continue to deliver. Like this individual want to see more functional interventions, want to see a transition into more functional approaches. And he was using some photo evidence from high level practices that were using that, like a lot of neuro, a lot of Theract, right? And he got a lot of pushback from this therapist saying, number one, I'm going to keep doing manual because I believe in it. And I think it's great outcomes. Number two, I could care less about photo. I don't believe in it. I think it's a bunch of shit. And it's like, again, that's a cop out. That's it.
Oh, I
That's
agree.
where, and I agree with you. That's where
You don't want
bias
to
is
look in the
wrong.
mirror.
Like,
You don't want to
Yeah.
look in the mirror.
but I'm
Yeah.
saying like this idea that, I don't know. I don't even know. I'm just grouchy tonight. I'm fired up.
Yeah, and I think that, and that's just the danger in that bias of like, well, I get good outcomes. It doesn't matter what anything says. Because
I didn't say
75
that. Who do you think people? I didn't say it doesn't matter what anything
This
says,
is
but
recorded, Nick.
yeah, it is. And if you go back and listen, you're just biasing your own memories right there, bro. Remembering what you want to remember. But again, it's like my issue with it is when I'm not disagreeing with the synergistic approach to applying multiple interventions, right? That's what I'm talking about. We don't apply any of this. We shouldn't be applying any of it in a vacuum. I'm a big, not what's the opposite of proponent. I'm a big opponent of doing, this, Kate, I'm a big opponent of doing dry needling as a singular invention or intervention. I think by itself it loses its usefulness. I think,
I think that's those practice guidelines aren't saying that you need to just do that one high level treatment either.
No,
they're just saying
but
of all
that's
the
how they're
treatments we do.
But that's how they're determining its efficacy.
Well, based on the research we have currently, that's all they can
We
go
talked
by,
about
right?
this, like they're applying it to the pharmacological model, trying to use control, right? And that's not how we operate.
But I still think you got to start somewhere. I don't think it's good enough to say, well, my patients get better and I'm a skilled clinician.
If you could prove it, why the hell not?
Well,
if you got a therapist who's
circular argument at this point.
Fine, but if you have is it though? I mean, I don't know if we're really agreeing here, but I think that if you have a therapist whose outcomes are consistently, let's say their orthopedic outcomes, their effectiveness scores are historically like 92 to 94%. And you're talking very consistent with very little fluctuation. And they're willing to say, you know what, I think I have a certain way to approach these issues. I think I have a pragmatic approach with a little bit of nuance for each patient, because the outcomes are one thing, but if you can apply that regardless of the diagnosis that's in front of you, and you can handle that and you can treat the patient with some nuance, what's wrong with that? That's all good.
I agree with that. And I think though, like the person that you're describing, I don't think you're concerned that they're just like doing laser the whole treatment.
No,
right?
I'm not. No, and that's not who I'm defending.
That's a high, that person that you're saying, like, I would say that like, that's just a good clinician, right? The ability to blend, and not that you won't say at times, right? Like, hey, like, man, I'm doing a little bit more manual with this patient than I usually would, or I'm doing a little bit more dry needling with this patient than I usually would.
And
but
maybe
you have that nuance,
Sorry, I'll do a quick explanation of why I'm kind of skittish on the other approach, and that's really quick. I've been doing that mentorship with our new therapist in one of our sites the last couple of weeks, and there was an approach the other day. She'd come a long way. She's looking real good, really confident, really processing things well. But the other day, where she's doing an eval, and really was going through everything almost so didactically. Like, I have to do this, I have to screen out this, and I have to do that. And as the patient would give her any bit of information, it was like she felt like she had to go and like arbitrarily screen that out. And arbitrary is being the key word here, right? And when we came out of that, the eval itself, that examination took like 47 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. And that left her almost no time to do anything that I would really qualify as skilled intervention, right? And one of my takes was like, one of the things you learn, and I think, Jeremy, you remember this from the residency, right? It's equally important, right, to determine to differentiate between what's maybe not necessarily important information within that eval.
Yeah. Yep. You should, right? Like, you should have that funnel.
And how do you find that out, or how do you apply it? By having a little bit of experience in a bias, right? Blended with research.
You'd say you're looking at patient population, mechanism of injury, right? Like potential for, if I have a 15-year-old kid with hip pain, I'm not concerned about OA, right?
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing, right? You're putting in buckets based on age, potential for energy or injury mechanism, all that stuff. And you know what? A good thing was, I got caught up in this in the residency too, and I'll give Jeff Donatelli a shout out. Like, I was like, how do you get through all this, man? Like, how do you screen out everything for regional independence? And he's like, I might not, right? Like, he's like, the whole thing of your eval is like think of it less as a diagnosis, think of it as a treatment hypothesis. You get to a point of certainty, you get to a threshold of treatment, and then you go from there, right? And you can screen stuff out at future sessions if you're still not getting where you're at. But yeah, you would say there is a likelihood ratio, if you would, based on like, this is where I'm going. I have a strong degree of certainty. This is, whatever I'm treating, I'm going there. But then not getting so caught up in that you can't stop and pivot, right? Oh man, I didn't screen out the back. We're getting better, but we're not all the way there. Let's go and let's look at, the low back,
I don't agree. Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to know with 100% certainty, what we're treating, and we got it. But I still think that has to be based on something, like you said, oh, you're 15, you probably don't have hip away. Well, there's plenty of research to back that up, right? We have prediction rules, we have all those things, and we use those to make I wouldn't say, well, I never see people your age with hip away, so it's not hip away. That's not correct. A good enough reason.
No, you're going through, again, I'm saying like, to me, if I have a script and I'm looking at it, like some stuff I'm like at least very strongly crossing off the list before I even enter the treatment room, right?
Yeah.
And then you go there and you say, hey, like I've got maybe a hypothesis in mind. It's between these handful of things. I'm going to test it out and confirm.
Yeah. And we're probably in violent agreement here to some degree, right? Like we're saying,
I just think it's how we're getting to it is a little different, and
like you can't be one way or the other. Like you can't. Like I said earlier, the anecdote that really did happen yesterday. You can't be totally married to purely experience and lean on that crutch, right? You have to continually challenge yourself and continue to learn, along the way. But if you can blend those things, I think that's the damn sweet spot.
Yeah, and they talked, even in this Mark Jones talk about bias, he said there's nothing wrong with intuition. There's nothing wrong with leaning on being a skilled clinician. It's just you should do your best effort to limit your bias when you can.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So
it was just talking about different techniques and how you can,
Geez, guys, that's all he was saying.
Yeah. And he talked about delaying intuition too, like
to make this thing exciting.
I feel deep down, I feel deep down it's this, just that's my bias, that's my intuition. Like, all right, maybe don't necessarily go right to that on the eval, absorb it next time the patient comes in. Then it's maybe a time to like really go with your intuition. If you're still feeling that way, you're probably fine. But maybe don't just do a snap. My intuition is, it's a hip impingement thing, right? Like I don't really have a whole lot of reason other than that's kind of where I'm leaning. If you're biasing that way, like maybe wait a little bit and sit on it, just little things like that, recognizing bias, going back into spotting the error on old cases, just different ways to work on your bias. Another cool thing you talked about was intellectual humility. Also, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to look into things you don't know too. I think that intellectual humility is important. So yeah, just some cool terms. Moving on, I'll rush through these quick. Pelvic floor. I can't say a whole lot on that. Not my strength. She did say Kegels were garbage. If that's what you're doing for pelvic floor strength, time to move on.
Most people fact check this though. I think it was a month ago. You were ready to deliver a baby.
Well, yeah, not Kegling. I'd get my fingers in. Get my fingers in there, Nick.
That's the delineation. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it did talk about how a lot of people do a Kegel wrong. They know what they are. Everybody knows what they are. But she said, really, you need to put a finger on the tailbone. Make sure when they're doing a Kegel that the tailbone's going in, not out. I'll find when a lot of people do what they think is a Kegel, they're actually pushing out, which is the opposite of what you want them to do. So that tailbone will push back into your hand when they do it, and that's really not the way they should be doing it.
Are you testing it on yourself?
Every night. Still doing it well. You can do that over the pants. It's not like an internal palpation of the tailbone. Just get the bottom of the sacrum, see where it goes.
And then if
Yeah,
you
do it right now, Nick.
if you
Feel
follow
it.
that, if you
The
follow
tailbone
that with-
disappear. It's a very subtle movement.
I actually can't feel it really move at all.
Oh no.
if you needle obturator and turnus directly after that, they're healed.
Do it. I'll do
They're-
it.
they're-
I'll throw some in.
Yeah. There's a couple talks I really didn't pull much from, so I'm not going to go over them. One of my favorite talks of the day was Ido Zylstra. You familiar with his work?
That name sounds very,
yep.
very, very familiar.
He was the guy that started Kineticore.
Oh
Yeah, he's from I swear
He
he's
was in
from
our- he
Grand
was in our-
Rapids.
he was in Faith Forward a couple years ago.
Is he really? He's
joined our
from
Faith Forward.
Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a great guy. I've listened to a few of his talks. I like his stuff. So his presentation was called Functional Dry Needling, Moving Beyond Trigger Points. As he said,
Yeah.
we need to get away from trigger points. He's like, I don't even know if they're real, if I'm gonna be honest. I was like, yes. Yes. That's all I took
his-
away from that.
it's his
There's
new
lots of other
shtick.
good there was a lot of other good stuff in there, but I had my bias had been confirmed, so I was ready to move on. So
Because he sold the IM. He's all good.
yeah.
No,
doesn't
he's got
care
his
anymore.
own. He's got his own practice called Kinetic Care, if I'm not mistaken. He's
You're
like
correct. Yeah.
he's like 40 minutes down the road from me.
Ooh, competition. Sorry,
Eh.
he's terrible. I wouldn't trust him, except for his
If
stance
you're
on
out
trigger
in
points.
Western Michigan,
Yep. Ito.
cool.
You know, his thing was definitely a lot of the E-stim with the dry needling. That seems to be their big push now. Seems to be a lot of where he's researching in. So, but which
I
would
like-
stand to agree with his, moving beyond the trigger point thing. If you believe it's not trigger points and you believe you're just making systemic changes, I guess the E-stim maybe helps that. I'm not into that part of the whole thing, but it's just
Yeah.
trigger point thing was sweet. So
And I'm not married to the trigger point with you. It's just fun banter for the show.
move beyond them, people. Move beyond them.
Hmm.
It's the only hate mail I ever get from this show is about people yelling at me because I don't believe in trigger points. So I'm sorry.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
people are like, oh, I listened to your thing on trigger points. It was garbage. I'm like, what? Okay. Talk about bias. Nick, you have overwhelmingly won that argument based on everybody I talked to. So
That's fun.
yeah, no, I hate it.
So you came back Sunday, right?
Yep. Came back Sunday. Yeah, that's the end of the story. No, it's good.
No. I'm just,
No,
So-
you're fine. They're fine. I have
How was your travel back home?
one quick thing you guys might be interested. The Do Dry Needle. They had a
Yeah.
cervical sensory motor presentation, and I thought it was pretty cool. So she talked about how a lot of people with neck pain obviously have visual cervical vestibular issues that maybe you don't even realize. They don't necessarily report the headaches and the dizziness, but they might
Yeah.
develop later. One thing that was cool was she talked about the oblique capitis inferior. Familiar?
oh yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I
Part of your
believe,
suboccipital bundle. Yeah.
I believe that's like a money place. People like to trigger point for headaches.
I needled it today.
Okay. So
For real.
here's a
3:30
cool,
p.m.
cool little bit of info from that. So if you look at muscle spindles per gram of a muscle tissue, you biopsy that muscle,
Uh-huh.
see how many spindles there are in there?
How many are there?
242. Now, what does that mean to you? Probably not a lot.
0.
How much do you think is in this little guy here on your thumb?
In your thenar eminence.
Yeah,
12.
16.
Cool.
So,
So
I mean,
it's
talk about
big money.
So your
sensitivity, right?
your chances of a twitch much higher.
Well, it's working like all the time, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
a spindle.
Well, and
You're hitting
just
spindle.
talk about nervous input. There might not be a better muscle in the body to, if you think you're getting nervous, because all those spindles are going to have, what Golgi body, your Golgi
You
tendons,
just-
carpinian
You just increased my
corpuscles.
bias into needling the suboccipital and just let everybody.
Yeah,
Let's
right. I mean,
go.
it's just a huge player though, and cervicogenic headaches, dizziness.
Yeah.
Anybody that's got jaw facial stuff, I mean, it's probably somewhere we should work on.
Facials?
However your preferred. Wait a second. However you prefer to work on them, I don't recommend facials. The board
Don't
rounds upon it.
Recommend
Um,
cream.
Come on.
So, but it was cool. Just
Outer Rodan and Fields guy.
how, yeah. Oh, sign up for Nick.
What were
His
you-
pyramid
what were
scheme.
you- what were you thinking?
Yeah,
Multi-level marketing.
but you know, simple things as far
You
as
have three
like
friends?
talking about, you know, I think we don't give enough respect to how it all plays together in the head, because you talked about moving your eyes, palpating those muscles back there. They if you put your hand on those muscles, move your eyes, those muscles contract and relax as you move your eyes. Same thing
Yeah,
like
they do.
if you look up to the ceiling and then try to flex your head to the floor, it's very difficult. Right, versus like looking down to the floor and then turning your head down. So it's just the interesting interplay. She talked a lot about treatment and all that stuff, and
Love it.
it's something I do in the clinic quite a bit. So it was nice, again, confirm bias. What I'm doing isn't a waste of time. So
No, that's cool.
those were my big bangers. That's my update on the Align conference. So everybody that wanted to know what was cool. So on Sunday, as I'm leaving, I get in the
Uh-huh.
elevator, and
Favorite
it's
part of the
this
story.
The same couple.
damn couple from Thursday.
Did
How
you
were
like
those
your
pizzas?
pizza?
Instantly, they're like, "Wait, you're the pizza guy, aren't you?" Yeah,
It's a me.
fucking pizza guy. Like Nick said, nobody
Yeah,
would
dude.
care. You guys have been thinking about this thing for 3 days, even though you haven't been involved with me. I'm like, I knew I should
Forget
have been
about
worried.
him. Forget. You're never gonna see him again.
Forget
I saw him
about it.
twice in 3 days.
Yeah,
was my
in
nightmare.
Dallas, in your hotel in Dallas.
Oh, if I ever see these people again, that's gonna be a good
Just
story.
freaking give him what for, man.
He said, "How'd that pizza go?" I said, I'm still in my body. I'm ashamed.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry."
You
Could
hungry
be.
for a sandwich, sir? A knuckle sandwich?
Oh, fight him. I
Yeah.
like that. Kick his
I
ass.
Hmm.
Sea bass.
Yeah.
Like Roadhouse, Patrick Swayze. And did I tell you guys I saw that movie right like that the night after we did our top 5 about like guilty pleasure movies?
Still a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it really was.
It's
It really was.
held strong. I tell you what's
Just-
not a guilty pleasure.
Which song?
These top 5 songs from the early 2000s.
Who let the dogs out? Who?
Ooh. Now I will say, I don't think I said this at the intro, but we're talking early 2000s.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think I just
2000
said
to 2004. That's what
Okay.
the 5-year period is. Yeah, I think I put that on there. Right?
Yeah, I think you did too, and I forgot about that, but I think I'm still good based on the
Okay.
numbers.
Yeah, because maybe sometime we want to address 2005, 2009. You
God,
know?
we got a lot of episodes to hit. We got to make these top 5s very specific going forward. So
Yeah, I think that's a fun one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It came out of what we kind of did the inverse, a few weeks back, where songs that grew on us that we initially didn't like. And I think it's like, hey, but we just do the opposite and think back to some songs that we really kind of dug at some level. Honestly, you had to have kind of liked it. And then you go back now and you're like, that song is kind of trash. Like, what did I even like about it? So that's a little bit of the background. Questions, comments, hateful concerns before we get in.
no, I will say, as doing my research on this, it was interesting as I had the songs in my mind and I went to listen to them. I could only listen to one of these 5 songs in its entirety because I hated
Yeah.
them so much on re-listening.
You probably
Really?
you had the bias so that they were going to be annoying.
Yeah, because they're terrible. They're horrible.
Yeah,
Yeah, the only song
biases.
that I listened through the whole way was my number 5. So I feel like
Oh.
that's appropriate.
So that makes sense. That
Mhm.
would hold true. Jeremy, any comments, concerns?
No, they were. It's just the aging process. I think a lot of songs that you hear when you're younger, they're like, "Oh, this is so cool,"
Thong
and then
song.
you listen to them now, and you're like, "This is so
Yeah.
dumb."
Yes,
So
definitely.
dumb. So,
Yep. I think I came up with like 1, 2, 5 pretty easy. And then I kind of looked up after 5. I kind of just did a Google search. I'm like, maybe I'm missing something. I was able to find like 3 more to my short list, and then dwindle it down from there. Because there was some, if you Google it, there's some on there that people are just crapping on. I'm like, you know what? I still kind of like that one.
Yeah, and I will say I left off like parody songs and like goofy songs like that. Like
Yeah. Mine
know,
are all just straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no Chocolate Rain on my list. There's
Chocolate Rain.
no Lonely Swedish. I don't know what years those came out. No Tom Green stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I was about to say
Right.
who was on the parody game then? Because I think Weird Al was in a little bit of a
Yeah.
break.
Yeah,
I'm-
yeah. So I didn't do any of those like stupid
Amish
online
Paradise.
online
Yeah.
sensation songs and stuff. I stuck with kind of mainstream music on my
Yeah.
list. So
Me
Yeah.
too.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just kick it off and
yeah, show us how it's done.
You guys good with that? All right.
Yeah, love it.
My number one.
Oh, you're starting at number one.
Or excuse me, my number 5. Sorry, 5555.
Forgot how to do this, huh?
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah,
I did miss you guys. I was. I
hard
was
to
just.
tell.
I apologize.
It's hard
I was a
to
little
tell.
rough. I was grouchy. I'm a little grouchy yesterday. I
That's all
apologize.
right. That's okay. People
My
like
number
that.
my number 5 comes from the year 2000.
Year 2000.
Yes, Conan. And it is called One Night, Una Noche by 98 Degrees. I'm smirking as I'm like even saying that, as I'm
Yeah.
acknowledging that I did at one point enjoy this song. And
I can't
it
say
was
I'm not familiar.
maybe a byproduct of going to like my first college age clubs and like dancing. So
Ooh.
you know what that was like, right?
Was this Coaches? Or were they old Broadway?
No, this was down in Okoboji. Place called the Marquee that used to exist. I don't believe it exists anymore. If we got listeners down in Spirit Lake, Okoboji, hit us up. Let me know if it's still in existence. I looked for it last year when I was down there, and I don't think it does. Yeah, so lots of good times. Summer of 2000. But now I go back to listen to it, and it's just really trashy. It's really lame. And yeah, I don't see myself putting it on a playlist anytime soon.
Okay.
Sorry, Lachey brothers, but that's 98 Degrees. One Night, Una Noche. Also trying to really capitalize off that late 90s Spanish
Sounds
infusion. That
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the song.
I looked it up and hit number 2.
Really?
America.
Oh.
Yeah.
What hit me with the chorus?
Give me just one night, Una Noche. Yeah.
It's good.
Because Una Noche is just one night. It's like they're repeating the same line.
Oh,
Thank
it's
you.
just the same line. Okay, I like it. That was good, Nick.
Yeah.
By the way,
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
like that. That was good. Yeah.
Who would
But,
like to who
yeah.
would like to offer up their number 5?
I
But,
can go.
Okay.
No.
You got
Okay.
you got a big hit.
No,
Liz,
no.
Case?
All my songs are big hits. I'll save all the surprises. I'll go last.
Banger City. I like it.
I like to
Mine
crap on
was-
people.
Mine was "Bring Me to Life" by Evanescence in
Mm.
2003.
Oh yeah, that was big.
That was a big song, and now like you hear it, and it's just so whiny.
Yeah.
And I
Is
just
that the 12
I don't know.
Stones guy? Was that the song with him? Is that guy
I
from
don't
12
know.
Stones? No?
I don't know. I thought they were just their band. I don't even remember her name, but
Yeah, for some
she was
reason I
good
thought
singer.
that
Isn't
guy
it? I
sang
thought
with
that
him.
was her name.
Yeah, Amy Lee.
Yeah, Amy Lee.
Amy Lee. Yeah, in
Yeah.
Evanescence.
Yeah.
But I thought she had a guest appearance by the lead singer of 12 Stones. Can't even think of his name.
I
thought that
remember
was that song.
she guested on the Seether song.
Seether, and that's actually a
There.
pretty solid song.
That's
I
a
like
pretty good
that.
song.
Yeah, I like that better
I
than
have
the
no issues
Seether
with
without
that
her.
song. But this is Jeremy's number
Yep,
5.
keep going,
It's
Jeremy.
Evanescence.
No, you're good. I don't have anything else.
Can,
Uh,
can
Okay.
you
now
sing
I
that
listen to
chorus?
it,
Can you hit her notes?
Oh,
No,
she does have a
not
strong
going to.
voice. But
Yeah, it was a really big hit. Like I said, I mean, it
was.
was like probably a top 5 pop song in 2003, right?
yeah.
And I don't know, just seems really whiny. I hate whiny.
And I think people like were drawn to her voice. Like it was so strong. It was so different for rock
Hey,
music
unique.
to have, a
Unique.
real almost operatic type singer.
Yeah.
But then you hear it now after all the America's Got Talent and American Idol, and you've heard a million of these people belt these songs out now on television, and that like operatic style of singing like isn't
And she's
quite
like
as
a
unique and cool. It
kind
all
of a
sounds the
weaker
same.
rock version of Adele.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just been so much stronger voices since that I think it loses some of that luster over time and
Yeah.
becomes an average rock song.
I'm with
That's
you.
a good choice,
it's,
Jeremy.
yeah, great choice. I wasn't thinking that way. And
That wasn't either.
that's-
That's a hit. Good
still
call.
shows up on like some random playlists I'll have, like, or not playlists, but like, when you go to a station, like,
Yeah.
play like early 2000s, but I skip over it.
Yeah, I do
It's
too.
not-
I would agree.
it's not
So it's a
my-
good
my
choice on
jam.
your list.
Trivia. What movie is that from?
No
Not in
idea.
not in the MCU, but the original Daredevil with Ben Affleck.
Ugh.
Ooh.
Eesh.
Yeah.
Never
Break
seen.
me out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
all
see,
you
that's
get.
the 12 Stones guy was that first part.
Oh, he's the one who's like, did you say break me out? Break
Yeah,
me
something like that.
Something.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
12
All right.
Stones, they had a good album. Give them a listen. My numeral
Good choice, Jeremy.
5 from
Thank you.
2004 is a little ditty called Hollaback Girl by Gwen Stefani.
Oh.
Um, so this
Oh.
is low on my list just because I wasn't like hugely in love with it, but like I was like, all right, it's kind of catchy. Like Pharrell, Neptunes, they were big at that time. You kind of had to like it. I was a
Yeah.
big Gwen Stefani guy. No Doubt was a band I thoroughly enjoyed. Found her very attractive. Sorry, Lacey. But she'd agree.
Sorry, Lacey.
Yeah. But
No VR goggles for this.
No Doubt was but then as time's gone on and like, man, it's just so, I don't know, she just felt like she just was trying to cash in on that stupid attitude and just trying to be attitude and to fit into this song, and it was that whole album was
Didn't
just
fit.
kind of, no, it didn't fit with her, didn't fit with what they were doing. She tried to be this pop star with stupid beats, and the only redeeming thing is like I cannot say bananas without saying BANANAS afterwards. I mean that, right? That's why
Did
it's 5
suck. You're
instead of
right.
like 2, 3.
Still
but like,
bananas.
yeah, so yeah, that's my numeral 5. I hate it now, but I was able to listen to the whole thing because wasn't
The beat was
as
alright. I mean, when it
bad,
came
yeah.
out, the beat sucked you in, and
yeah, like the Neptunes beat was pretty solid, or Pharrell, whoever did the beat, one of those two.
Neptunes were nice for a while. Yeah.
You
They
had to
were.
like them. Yeah.
So
Right now.
I had Hey Baby by No Doubt on my short
okay.
list. Yeah. But then I was like, I don't know if I ever truly liked it. I couldn't even remember.
Yeah, I can't say. I mean, there was most of the songs I hated and still hate, and most of the songs I liked I still like. So this list is short for me. So I
It's
didn't
a fun.
really.
It's kind of fun though. I think it's.
All right, that's my number 5. Nick, what do you got? Number 4.
I got another one that's making me
Your number
smirk
one.
as I'm going to say it because I'm embarrassed to say that I really enjoyed it when it came out.
Oh,
It
don't
is
be.
from.
It's like eating 2 pizzas, man. Don't
I know
care
now
what
I'm
people
Mr.
think.
Insecure.
Yeah, see?
A lot more listeners are going to hear this than the weird couple that's worried
Yeah,
about
you didn't
the
have to
pizza
look them
intake.
in their faces.
Soulless
Twice.
faces.
In an
Ghostly eyes.
elevator, I was trapped with them.
Trapped in an elevator. Much
Felt
like
like
this
an
guy
hour.
was
Oh,
prior to
no.
him being trapped in the closet. It was R. Kelly in 2003 had a hit song called Thoya Thoang.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
A lot of Asian sentiments there. And yeah, I was still in college and I still liked going out and enjoying club scene, if you will.
The club. The club.
This is before he really fell on hard times caused by himself.
Yep. Hard to like him. Hard to like
Hard
him.
times, baby, hard times. And I really dug it. And now I can't even really, maybe it's because of R. Kelly, I can't really listen to much of his music anymore and take it very seriously at all. And then you listen to this stuff.
Bump and
it
grind
sounds
is hard
just-
to listen to for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And those songs actually had like a little bit of maturity to them. And then you got trash like this that was just like stupid, just really dumb lyrically. And yeah. So that's my number 4, Thoya Thoang, from the 2003 Greatest Hits collection, the R and the R&B, I think it was called. By
Oh, that's
I even bought the CD. I liked it that much, and
Whoa, okay.
it was the Greatest Hits collection though, so it's a good investment.
I do own all these albums except for Gwen Stefani. So on my list as well.
No, 3 of 5.
Okay.
Still in a CD box somewhere, I'm sure. All right, J-Bone.
So my number 4 is Crawling by Linkin Park. And again,
that could upset some people.
I love the
I
band.
still like it.
But like again, it's just like one of those songs you go back to listen. It used to be a hot jam, I thought, but like again, it's so whiny. Crawling in my skin.
It's about domestic
what the
abuse,
heck?
Jeremy. I don't think it's
What
That was
supposed to be
good,
happy.
man. Casey, you gotta mute
Yeah, I don't
him.
know.
So we're not
Mute
paying
me.
out of the wazoo for Chester
Oh.
Bennington ripoffs
Yeah,
to the estate of
octaves
Chester.
for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
That was
Sounds like-
good. That
Sounds
was
like a
good.
bird got choked. I mean, it's not good.
These words,
Uh.
they will not hear.
Yeah,
There's
That's it.
like, but you know what, bro? There's like rabid Linkin Park fans still.
I like a lot of Linkin Park still, even their
It's
newer
okay.
stuff. Yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
that
preferred
it
their
doesn't-
older stuff. It was a little more unique. I thought Hybrid Theory. Well, I thought Meteora was their best album, but
Meteor was solid.
I'll go
They
with
both
that.
were pretty solid, but that's where I put them. I never was like the rabid fan. I remember. You guys remember when Meteora came out? That was like a huge deal. There's a lot of people. There's a big midnight CD drops and all that stuff when that was still going on. Yeah,
I snagged that
I'm-
one at midnight. That was a big deal for me.
Mhm. And I guess the techno infusion was pretty well done, is what I'll say. It wasn't super new because other like Nine Inch Nails have been doing that forever, but they did it pretty well.
Yeah, I felt like of all the rap rock bands that came out in that time, they integrated it the most seamlessly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Be interesting to kind of dig into like why they were successful or as successful as they were, because you're right, there was like, yeah, few other bands that tried doing that, just didn't hit.
I mean, Jeremy doesn't like his voice, but Chester Bennington had a unique voice. I mean, hard to
Yeah, he did,
reproduce.
man.
Nobody
Yeah, who's
else
the
could
other guy?
probably sing those
Who-
songs.
And who was the other vocalist?
Mike
'Cause they-
Shinoda.
Mike Shinoda, yeah.
Uh,
And he had more of like the hip hop type
yeah,
approach.
right.
so, yeah.
And then like he did his solo stuff later, which was very generic rap.
They did the mashup around. I think that was with Meteora too, with Jay-Z.
Yeah. That
Mhm.
was
They
with the
had
Black
some
Album.
they had some pretty sweet mashups in that.
Yeah, I
That
know a
was
lot
cool.
of people that love that album.
That was cool. That was cool.
I
Yeah.
was one of them.
Yeah.
I just didn't like that song. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. No, you grew out of it. I hear
Yeah.
you. It's
Yeah.
another one. Like actually, there's probably half a dozen of their songs. Same thing. It comes on a station or something. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's kind of just
Yeah.
blah to me. Yeah, I'll skip it.
Yeah, I forget what the one before that single. That song I kind of skipped now, and I thought that song was like cool as hell when it first came out.
Mhm.
Maybe
it's just that-
anymore.
Maybe it's because it's never fully left like the rock station zeitgeist either. It's just
Yeah.
never had a chance to go away for a while. Mhm. All right, Case.
All right, this is my worst band on my list. I would say there was a time in the late 90s, early 2000s where I was a fan of this band. I've probably mostly fallen out of favor, but I still listen to it. This comes from the year 2000.
Mhm.
It is from the Insane Clown Posse, a
Oh,
song
man.
called Let's Go All the Way. This is a Sly Stone cover, I think.
Oh,
And when it first came out, I was like, this is sweet beat, like kind of cool sound. Maybe they're maturing, they're growing with me. I didn't realize it was a cover. I've listened to the cover since, and like the actual songs like a million times better. Like somehow they made a 70s synth song actually sound crappier. And they, they added their stupid ICP flair to the song to bring it to modern times, and it's so corny. Everything they did was corny,
Correct.
which was okay because they knew they were corny and they knew where they were dumb. But when they tried to do it to like a cover a song that's like kind of serious and felt like they were trying to be serious, it's just ruined it for me now. I couldn't listen to it. I made about 30 seconds in when I was like doing my research. I was like, oof, hot garbage.
and there was
I
a
remember
and there was a
terrible.
time you were a juggalo. Just listening.
Not a juggalo. I had some Jinko jeans. Those were cool.
I
I had pants. I had like a shiny shirt with a
Yeah.
dragon on it for a while.
did too. I had silver.
It's cool. Yeah. No,
But I wasn't
I
an ICP guy.
I liked them for the fun. Like the Great
Uh,
Malenko, I think's a fun album. The songs are goofy, they're funny. There's still some pretty good, decent beats on them. They kind of did a rock rap thing too. It was a little more unique at the time. So the Great Malenko holds a spot with me, but the rest of it's just absolute garbage. And this song is the worst of the worst.
I just never got into ICP. There was too much of a gimmick.
Weirdos.
Yeah.
Yeah, big
Bunch
gimmick.
of weirdos.
I liked the
funny-
gimmick for a while.
Funny story. We talked incentives just today at work, right?
Yep.
And at Midwest Bank, their incentive program is referred to as their ICP.
Mm,
And every time Michelle can't say ICP without me like smirking at her. I'm like, you're just a juggalo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sing
they have some fun songs. Their Halloween songs are always fun. They do like one every year.
If you say so, bro.
Yeah, give them a hit. Give them a listen. You might not hate them as
Yeah,
much as you think.
I think I will. But kudos to you for growing out of them.
Yep,
You're
for sure.
a big
Good
boy.
work.
You are a
Good
big,
work.
strong boy.
You
I'll
are a
still
big,
listen
strong
to the Great
boy.
Malenko.
Go for it. You do you.
Play that as the background to this whole podcast. I'll gladly pay the $1,000 or whatever it's going to cost me.
Oh man. My number 3. And now we're venturing into some stuff that you could say at one point, kind of felt right. It is from 2002, and it is a collaboration that felt really from the heart and, kind of fun. It was by Nelly and Kelly Rowland. It was Dilemma. And now I listen to it and I can't finish it. I'm like, this song is not very good at all. Can't figure out why I really liked it at the first place. Try to go back in my frame of mind 20 years ago now, which is wild to think. Nellyville Guys came out 20 years ago. Air Force Ones. Yeah,
Stomping in them.
but now, Kelly's voice was good. I think she, had Beyonce not taken off like a rocket ship, Kelly might have had a better career, but I think she just got forgotten about in the aftermath. However, this song is kind of, I don't know, lyrically weak, silly at times. Talk about, my boo. This one,
This is the even when I'm with my boo. That's the song, right?
crazy over you.
Okay.
And the message about like just cheating's okay because I'm with you. I don't know. Doesn't hold up to me. Changed a lot over 20 years. So sorry, Nelly, and Kelly, Nelly and Kelly.
Nelly and Kelly, the Nelly and Kelly show.
But Dilemma is no longer a hit to me. It's no longer a banger in my mind. So that's use it on number 3 on my list.
Good call. That was a huge song. Yeah, Kelly.
She's good.
Yeah,
She was good. She was good.
little crush
But
on her. She
I
was
like-
great
and
in
you know what?
Freddy versus Jason.
Great. Well, now we're kind of exaggerating, I think.
Yeah, she's
Um,
probably the worst part of that movie.
Yeah, she like when she starts bad mouthing him and she's like, yeah, you just fool Freddie. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh God.
Oh yeah, she's
Um,
too stereotypical.
I never
Yeah.
saw it.
It's a good show. It's a good movie, Jeremy.
Too scary. Too scary.
Probably.
There's some
Jeez
scary moments.
Louise.
Hey, we're only a month away from some scary movie lists coming
We
up.
can finally do it again.
Let's
You
do
told us
top Halloween candies.
top Halloween songs.
Maybe
Candies.
we'll have to do like one of those PT
Treats.
Shop Talk movie watches where we just do a Facebook Live where all 3 of us watch a scary movie.
Oh, that'd be fun. Like a watch along.
Yeah. Just watch Jeremy's face. That'd be
Yeah.
good.
Well, that would be kind of silly. Silly. Okay, J-Bone, Gary.
This is my first Nelly on the list. Uh,
Wow.
it is Hot in Her.
So hot and
It's such a great song when it came out, but it's
Yeah.
getting hot in here. So
Her.
take your clothes
Her.
off. I am getting so hot. I'm going to take my clothes off.
getting
Is
hot
it-
and hurt. Take off all your clothes. I am
So,
getting so hot.
yeah, it just
Does he even
is a
rap in that
terrible
song? I don't remember anymore.
I don't
I
think
can't.
so.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I
any
just think of the
verses.
chorus if I'm going to be honest. That's all I remember.
That's all I remember. I didn't really listen to it either, but I'm like, what a stupid song. And I used to like it. So ergo, it's on my list.
Yeah, good call.
Choice. Good choice.
Same album.
Yeah,
Mhm.
probably
Yeah,
went
good
triple
choice.
platinum. So
I think he burned through all of his musical equity on the first album.
Country Grammar.
Yeah. But they were all hits though. Nellyville had like #1 was on there too. That was a big hit.
Oh, he's printing money for a while.
Two is not a
#1.
winner, and 3, nobody remembers.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
number
true.
1.
Yeah, he's
Hey,
number
hey,
one.
hey, 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 hey.
There's one
Good.
more song
Yeah.
on there that I'm forgetting, but maybe it'll come to me later. But he had some hits, but again, they haven't aged well.
No,
poor
they suck.
Nelly. Poor Nelly. He's like doing the country music circuit tour thing. I mean, he's kind of
He's in casinos with FGL. What's left of FGL?
yeah.
It's a good casino
one.
show.
That's a good one. So we both had Nelly at #3. Oh, good for us.
I do not have Nelly at #3, but I do have a rapper at
Okay.
#3.
Yes,
Let's go.
From 2004, it's a little ditty called "Just Lose It" by Eminem.
Oh yeah.
This song. So in 2004, Eminem for me could do no wrong. I thought he was the greatest rapper in the world. Everything he did was gold. Every song he did was great. This song came out, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I guess it's okay, right? It's kind of that first goofy single like he had on every album. And man, now when I go back and listen to it again, I can't finish it. He does a lot of accent, very freshman humor.
Yeah.
Switches his style up about 30 times in the song. It's just an absolute mess. There's really nothing redeeming about it. The chorus is terrible. He tries singing a little bit. He tries, like I said, 3 or 4 different accents. It's just horrible. Nothing's funny in the song. He doesn't paint a good picture on anything. It's really easy, low-hanging fruit that he picks at the whole time. It's just, ugh.
Yeah. And the reference is that he's beating, like he's going after boy bands still, right?
He's going after like Michael Jackson and
the stuff was like
Child
it's like
molesters, but it was all
he
just,
already did it twice before,
yeah, and he rehashes a bunch of pieces of a bunch of his little songs and talks about 8 Mile. Like, you can't talk about your own movies and albums in your same song and requote them and act like you're
Casey
rapping
is
again.
disgusted.
I am.
He's
disgusted.
mad at himself.
That whole album kind of sucked, if I'm going to be honest.
But you kind of liked it to begin with.
Yeah, like I said, I was riding so high on Eminem that like I thought I had to like it, Like I was like, and people liked it. Like it was pretty popular. I mean, it's not like it was universally crapped on when it came out, but I think you go back now and other than Relapse, this song would have fit perfectly on Relapse. But there's a couple other terrible songs on Encore too. There's some good songs on there, but
that's
a poor album.
Such a poor follow-up to the Eminem show.
Yeah, right.
I mean, when you think about, I just said Nellyville was a rough follow-up, but when you put it in context, like Eminem going from the Eminem show to Encore, and it's like the only song I really still like on Encore is Mosh. It's probably the only one that I still kind of get into, and I think it's just his energy that carries that one through, and it's pretty straightforward. It's like there's not as many tonal shifts like you're talking about. And he's not trying to cram so much in there. He's just letting out like frustration on the war in Iraq, and stuff like that was going on at the time. I was excited for that album. I'm like I went on, bought it right away, thinking like I'm just gonna he's got enough equity with me. There's gonna be stuff on here, and it was like one of those moments where it's in the CD player in your car. Remember back in those days, you drive around for a while, and you just be like, it's gonna grow on me, and you're like,
drive to Harvey and back.
Burn some
ready
fuel.
to just take it out. And where's my Lloyd Banks CD? I'm gonna trust Lloyd.
Mockingbird was good on that. That was a really good song.
Do you think I might have
like Toy Soldiers?
See, I'm not a big fan of either of those. But
I
could go. No, I just don't.
And I thought those two kind of rehash stuff he did before too. Like, and they were just. I thought they were too easy too. He'd done plenty of stuff with his daughter and songs with his daughter. So, yeah, it's not bad. Those songs I'll listen to, but that's about the only thing I'll listen to on that album, and the rest of it, literally can't listen to. Like,
yeah.
Good
Not
call.
that there's better songs out there. It's just they're that bad. From a guy I love a lot of his stuff.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
that's my numero
Yep.
3.
Yep, good call, man. That's pretty good. My number 2, it had to be on here. We referenced it a few weeks back from the year 2000. Again, God, 2000 just hasn't aged well, has it?
No.
Y2K.
We're gonna keep rolling.
What?
Yeah, Limp Bizkit rolling.
Now I know y'all be loving this.
right here.
Play the
LIMP
effing track.
Bizkit.
Play the effing track. Now, which version? Which version are you talking? Urban Assault?
Not
or
the
Air
what
Raid?
was it, the urban air raid vehicle or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's just whatever the
Yes.
original was. And when that
Oh,
came
Air-
out, it was such a big hit. And again,
Oh,
they were
Air
living
Raid.
off, they were kind of living off that equity of the previous album, like Significant Others. So everything was like really hitting, and it felt right at the time. And now you go back, you're like, what a stupid song. And Fred Durst just, as a writer, I'll just say he had a lot more misses than hits.
That's
And
too kind.
I think, the only thing as I'm going through this and rehashing, I have great memories of like partying with this song. It was like, again, I'm in college and having a great time. It was like a post-football party song, especially if we won. But it makes me want to go watch that Woodstock '99 documentary that everybody's buzzing about on Netflix. So
Yeah, heard it's awesome.
so that's my number 2, roll-in urban air raid vehicle.
Yeah, whatever the rock
Yeah.
version of that song is.
The rock one was better.
Yeah.
No, I think that's shittier to me. Like the DMX Method
Oh,
Man version. I think that's
oh.
there's something redeeming to that because at least those guys are on it.
That had to be a remix.
But wasn't the rock one had the whole intro where he's got to like say the album name, which was just so stupid anyways.
Say it.
Chocolate dogfish and the hot dog flavored water, baby. Yeah.
Keep a rolling. Yeah, most people think
Yeah.
the rock version's the original version, but actually the rap version's the original version.
Is it
Is
really?
it?
Rock version was done afterwards. Yeah.
You know
you
way
know.
too much about Limp Bizkit.
Wait till you hear what my number 2 is, Jeremy.
Ooh.
Oh.
You'll know why I
Mine-
know so
Alright.
much.
My number 2, it's my second Nelly on the list. However, not the Nelly you're thinking of. This is Nelly Furtado.
Oh,
I'm like a bird.
I'll always fly
Guilty-
away.
Guilty pleasure. That was a good jam back in the day. I would hum along to it. I wouldn't turn it.
Oh.
I might even turn it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
like if
you know-
it came on right after Natalie Imbruglia, man, that was a good 1-2 banger.
So
Horn, fly away.
yeah, it's probably I don't know why it lost its luster. I don't know if just societal pressures got to me over time to like be like, and you can't like this song.
You just need to fly away,
but it's
bro.
just it's just not the same. So
Hammer out 2 pizzas.
She doesn't know
That's-
where she's flowing.
That's-
No way she's going. I still
Yeah.
like that song,
I still
Jeremy.
like.
That is not soured on me at all.
Bro, like Nelly Furtado was nice.
Yeah, that's a great
She had
song.
a couple weird. She was such a
Was.
like hybrid.
I don't like her
right? Like, it
new
was like-
stuff is like super pop rap. That's weird to me. I like the folksy.
The
Nelly
folk
Furtado.
pop rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, the folky pop rap.
Promiscuous
yeah.
Girl didn't do it for you.
That was okay. I didn't mind
Nope.
that.
You said
Timbaland.
nope.
I was happy for her when she kind of like, because that broke her much bigger and much broader. So it's like, good for you. You know, 'cause
You're out there.
she's kind of been in that fringe for a while. All right. You know what? You're entitled to grow out of it. Casey and I still have a place in our heart for her.
I can't allow it, Jeremy. I need you to listen to it quite a bit tonight.
I'm like a bird. I'll
Always
fly
fly
away.
away. I don't know
I
where my
don't know where
phone
I'm
is.
going.
Yeah, it's so good.
I don't
Nothing
know where
bad
my
about it.
phone is.
I don't
Did-
think
okay,
those are the words.
Can I ask a
You're a
ask
hater.
a more personally related question? Did you have a girlfriend at the time who really liked it?
No, I didn't.
No?
No.
You
I
didn't
just
have
like-
like a
I just like good music, man.
Hmm.
I was drawn to it by
Personal.
a kind of a
A flame.
slightly hippie-ish girl that really dug Nelly Furtado, and I'm like, okay, well, I listen to this music too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll like
Super
it
deep.
too.
I know he's such a badass, but afterwards we should listen to this new R. Kelly song.
Yeah, you were like, it's totally dumb.
we
like,
listen to that while I get my tips frosted?
They're the worst.
Yeah, no, I was done frosting by that point.
She was just braiding a bracelet on your wrist with some hemp.
Oh,
Not,
You guys
not,
were cuddling
not
in
on my
bed.
wrist already, but
Whatever.
I'm really regretting that I tell this story because Michelle listens to this podcast and she's like, who was that? Because this was we didn't meet till a year later. I believe the song, 2001, right, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Mr. Producer, yeah. Yeah. So my math is right. She's still going to want to know. So what the hell are you talking about?
Yep.
Do you
Sorry.
think she's just gonna play that song now around the house all the time?
She's
Just
probably
mess
like,
with
I
you?
hate that song. That's a stupid song.
She should. She should just
Alexa, remove that from our library
I hate
permanently.
it.
delete
I
it forever.
hate it. Who was she?
Delete it from the interweb.
Stab
Now.
my freaking throat with a pen while I sleep.
What?
Like a
That's
free
love,
CPAP.
boy. That's
Yeah,
love,
that's
boys.
love. Okay.
I bet
I
that
haven't
gets
gotten there
played.
yet.
That gets played at PPS for sure.
All right, we'll have to
Oh.
do it.
Could you imagine if they have karaoke?
What?
Be a good one.
Yeah.
Rolling.
Oh, we could do this whole list. All right. I like that. My
Wait,
number
we're-
2, already been said, Rolling by Limp Bizkit.
All
Song
right.
is shit.
Dude.
Holy
Also
crap,
at number
that song's
2.
terrible. Oh my god. And I was like you, Nick, like, yeah, it came out and you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's it's not too far off from break stuff, right? Like the heavy beat, repetitive. But yeah, you start listening to it and it's like I heard somebody once describe it as like a new metal hokey pokey. Like move in, move out, hands up, no hands down. And the video was
Back up. Tell me
Yeah.
what you want to do now.
right? It's the hokey pokey. And the music video was dumb. They like choreographed dance moves with it and like made it like a
Yeah.
thing. And it was just the beginning of the end. And it kind of sucked because it came out My Way or the Highway.
My
They
Way
dropped
is-
those singles at the same time.
I'll say that. I'll go to
That's
bat.
still a
My
good-
Way was
That's such a
legit.
much better song.
Much
And it's
better.
like,
Still a good
why did you
jam.
release these two at the same time? So it makes me hate it even more because maybe it was my
generation is
maybe
what
it was
they
my
released.
generation that
And
came
later
out.
on, they released My Way like half a year later. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it was my generation. Also, way better song than Rolling. So it's just, and it sucked. And like they had the audacity again to make a terrible song and release 2 versions of it. Like it was the hottest shit ever. Like, oh, you guys, you're not going to get
But they
enough
were
of this
big.
song.
They were though. That's what's so wild. And then it was pretty
People
much. But
loved
this
them.
pretty much killed them. I mean,
Oh yeah.
they had Behind Blue Eyes a couple years later, but wasn't anywhere near as successful, and they were just done at that point.
Yeah. I think once
was a
people,
good
once
jam, too,
once the shine came off of this song, I think it really revealed how shitty they were.
They were done.
Yeah.
They were, yeah. And then he kind of buried his own grave deeper because, okay, the album that had Behind Blue Eyes on it,
Results
Came out
may
03.
vary.
yes, results may vary. They had a song and a video where he was basically a rapist.
Yep.
From the perspective-
Panty
it's like-
sniffer.
Yes, was that the actual name? I thought he renamed it.
Yeah. Eat You Alive.
Yes, that's what it
kinda
was.
what-
Eat You Alive.
That's what they called it on the radio, but I believe on the album was called.
He named,
Panty
yeah, he
Sniffer.
originally wanted to name it and release it as Panty Sniffer. And it's like, dude,
That's
like,
weird.
like you're promoting like rape and
Yeah, it's weird.
stalking and stuff. And it was like, well, it's just not only that, but the record company, everybody was like, let's go along with it. That sounds great. You know?
I will say that song's kind of a guilty pleasure song for me.
Okay. Moving on.
Not so much the rape part of it, but
Oh,
like
right.
Not
the way he
rapey
screams
stuff.
on that, like the way he screams on that song is actually kind of cool. Like he did some cool stuff on that song, but yeah, the
It
content's
could have
horrible.
been better. I'll put it like if it had been less rapey.
Yeah,
and more-
100%. Like,
Yeah, there could have been something better there. Yeah.
yeah, I think you could have adjusted it a little bit to make it a really good song because I think there's a lot of redeeming value in that song without the content. But
Okay. All right.
If you basically just take away all the content of the song, it was really good.
Yeah,
just-
you
yeah, if you
strip
just
it all
pretend-
down. You just
pretend he's just screaming the whole time and mumbling. It's pretty solid. Yeah, I
Well-
need you alive. That's cool.
This has been a fun list, guys. And we're on to our number ones. We've had a lot of laughs.
One.
No surprise. Without further ado, it is the Thong Song by Cisco.
Oh,
It is.
all right.
Going back to again the year 2000. So that makes 3 of my 5, all from that year. And
I
I
should
even
have had
left-
you, Nick, unleash the dragon doling. I got it wrong, huh?
yeah, obviously it felt fun at the time. You know, another song that was very ubiquitous in a club, and living through it again at an adult club, it did bring out the thongs. You know, that was the look. If you guys remember, like hike 'em up.
Oh, whale tails.
What, whale tail? Oh, that's a new expression to me. I
You
almost
were
feel
not
ignorant.
familiar
What?
with that? Yeah.
It's called a whale tail.
Yeah, right. Does it come out of the
Doling.
pants? It looks like a whale's tail.
I was just, you know what? I was a farm boy from North Dakota.
Oh, you were too into that hippie lifestyle back then, huh?
I was just, yeah.
The gals you were with didn't wear underwear. I get it.
But
Okay.
Cisco, yeah. Cisco. Silver hair. Yeah, love the way the booty goes.
Yeah,
Like the
this
way
is
the
good.
booty goes.
Oh, that's a
That
fun song.
thong. Yeah.
I gotta
Um,
say, I don't
it's-
I don't hate it anymore. I
It's,
still
it's kind of what if I'm ever crapping all over like music I hear today, and if I can think of this and be intellectually honest, I think back to like, but we had the thong song when I came out of college. It wasn't like we were living through an era of nonstop brilliance in music. And
No,
Everything.
horrible lyrics. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff out there is trash.
you
Just-
can
it
just,
has a catchy
funny
beat.
when you say that. I wonder if people from like the 60s and 70s have a thong song where they're like,
I want
Yeah,
to hold your
They-
hand.
hey,
I wanna hold your hand.
that shit was
I
a
wanna
bang.
see that thong.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I guess. Okay, I said when you put it that way,
Thank you,
makes me, like,
John.
hold your hand less now. Thanks for ruining that for
See
me.
your thong. 8 days a week.
You know what the Beatles were? They were kings of music, you guys.
They were- they
All
were
right, so
something. All
I
right.
don't know. I don't have much else I can add.
Is
There
that
we
why you
go.
had the dragon shirt?
No, I had the Dragon shirt before that.
Oh,
Late
okay.
90s model. Yep.
It's probably around when I had mine as well. I probably got it at Gadzooks.
I might have bought mine at the Buckle in like Grand Forks or Fargo.
Mm.
High
18% off.
High end.
Yeah, it was way nicer than Gadzooks for
I
sure.
had like a leather bracelet.
Came
and
with
puka,
it.
Puka shell
And-
necklace. That was
They were nice,
Then
man.
those
The
tips, I'm
shinier, the
telling you.
better.
99. Those tips were frosted, Jeremy.
I believe that. I do. Back in 99, I had long flowing hair. Just
Love it.
how times have changed.
Man, time we can never go back, boys.
No,
We can't.
All right.
My my number one, the second R. Kelly sighting on the list. It is 2002, the remix to Ignition.
That hurts too, because I still
such a
like
good
it.
song. Love it.
Dude,
That song gets me
lyrically-
pumped.
So
Mixed in
lyrically,
ignition,
it's
fresh
hot
out
and
of the
fresh out
kitchen.
the kitchen.
Rolling
Mama
them
rolling
body,
that
body,
body, got every man in the
Hey,
nation.
listening. We
Sit
roll
that
in all
Uncle
done.
and rum.
numb.
I'm like so
I'm
When
like,
I'm
so what?
drunk.
I'm drunk. It's the
Yeah,
freaking
Freaking weekend,
weekend.
baby. I'm about to have me some fun.
You know,
What a hit.
that used to be, yeah, it
Is
was
it-
a jam. But you know, I think it's just like, again, like all of, I feel like a bad person listening to any R. Kelly music,
Right?
period.
That's
Yeah,
It's
fair.
just like,
right.
you know, like when you realize he's probably singing about a 12-year-old kid. It's like,
Yeah. Or peeing
Yeah.
on him. One or
Yeah.
the other.
yeah.
While he's recording.
So yeah, 2002, 2003, that was a jam. Made it on plenty of burnt CDs, but
Yeah.
not anymore. R.
Gosh.
Kelly's came and went. He's,
Yeah, and like
He's
him
dead to
being
me.
like wildly convicted and guilty of it definitely doesn't help. Like
Yeah,
I can
he's
do
dead to
Michael
me.
Jackson still. Like I can kind of separate that. I mean, there's probably some shady ass stuff he did in the background, but like there's no like
It hasn't been proven, right?
definitive evidence, so I can kind of move beyond that.
He
But
didn't record himself.
Isn't Macaulay Culkin like proof enough? Like,
Does Macaulay
that-
even say that he was like a victim though? Does he?
I don't know. He just
Yeah.
seems like he went off the deep end. He seems like he had some trauma.
Yeah, but
yeah,
you're
but
right. I mean,
probably
it
had a lot
is,
of trauma besides.
And when you're like, hey, come to the Neverland Ranch and be boys forever.
yeah.
He never
there's some
had a
memories.
childhood, Jeremy. He just wanted to
have-
live a
Oh
childhood.
man.
Have some fentanyl. This is
Well, you
gonna be
can-
great.
You know, Casey, we can live in a world where multiple people are weird. Weird as hell.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, you're. You know,
I don't know. Just
you
sours
can't.
it for
It's
me.
hard. It is hard. It's hard when you go back anything that he did.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're like, man, I can't have a hard time removing like him from like how I feel about that song.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real. I truly enjoyed that crossover album he did with Jay-Z, The Best of Both Worlds. That was really good. I really like that a lot, top to bottom almost. Do I ever listen to anything? No. It's just like I feel wrong listening to R. Kelly.
Who's that, Dad? That's R. Kelly.
That's
Would this
Robert
be a
Kelly.
lesson to you? Oh, yeah.
Wasn't he a real bad man?
Is he
Yeah.
still in prison too? I mean, as
I
a
think so.
footnote to this thing,
I
is
think
still
he
in
just
prison?
got like a bunch of new stuff came out on him that's not good. Like,
Yeah.
he's getting into even more trouble.
It's kind of like, well, it's the same. It's the Bill Cosby effect too, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to go back. Like, as I grew up with Cosby Show, I
Mhm.
thought Dr. Huxtable was awesome, and I can't go back and watch the show.
It is hard. Yeah, there's a band I used to really like called Lost Prophets, and their lead singer did some real bad stuff. And yeah, I can't listen to him.
Oh, they
Can't
did,
enjoy
huh?
him.
He's
I didn't know that.
currently in a federal child porn trial.
Gosh, yeah, they were recording everything, and yeah, he was doing bad stuff.
Yeah.
Bad dude. Yep,
Yeah, if you
good
like
one.
Lost Prophets, go look at their lead singer. He is a real bad man. So
Yeah, I'll look that
Yuck.
up. Because I
not,
remember
not
those
even
guys.
worth talking about, if I'm gonna be
Okay,
honest.
we'll
So.
leave it on.
Well, let's stop
give the
talking
dirty.
about it.
What's your number one, Casey? Because
From the
one,
year
one.
2000, maybe the worst song of the 2000s. Now that I've gone back and grown and listened to it, it is a song. I own the album. I listened to the song thousands of times. I thought it was deep. I thought it was cool. I thought it was where music was heading. It's a little ditty called Butterfly by a band named Crazy Town. Holy crap. If you go back and listen to
good
this song,
one.
Come, my
It
lady,
is
come, my lady.
everything that's
You're my
wrong
butterfly, sugar,
with
baby.
rock music at that time period. And it like catered to the like American Eagle crowd, like
So
talking about
bad.
this girl that is just the classic girl you'd see at the mall. And yeah, come my lady, you know. It's all of it's so terrible. There's
That's so bad.
the only good part about it is like the beat, which they stole from the Chili Peppers. So it's like yeah, it's a horrible song. Oh my
The only
goodness.
the
I
only thing
tried
I
to
can
listen
say,
to it.
yeah,
Ugh.
the only thing I can say is I never liked it. I was like,
yeah, right. That played in
nope,
the
Nope.
buckle, didn't it?
nope, nope. I never liked it, Jeremy.
Yeah,
I-
I thought this song was great.
It was too
when it came
soft.
out.
It was like I didn't feel like they ever knew what they wanted to be. And thank God they didn't have any other hits. I mean, really. Who's
I
that
like
dude? What was that
Casey.
dude's name too? Because I think his look is what drew like chicks loved it, and they were always like, "Oh, he's so hot."
Oh yeah, he
Ripped
was an
and all that.
Abercrombie model look to
Yeah.
him, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that. Oof. Yeah. Anyways, if you
He's in town.
forgot about that one, go ahead and give her a listen. You won't make it very far. It is
You know,
a baddie. It's a
It's a
baddie.
crap song. You're
Yep.
100% right.
But it was popular. Yeah, it was. Every bonfire I ever went to, I had to play that sucker about 10 times. So
So, yikes. Yeah, no, that sucked. Good
Yeah.
list.
yeah, that guy had lots of puka shell necklaces.
He did.
Yeah. Don't lump us together, Casey.
Sorry.
We are not the same.
Yeah, that's all.
Bad
Good stuff.
people.
That was fun. I
Fun
think
list.
I think we found some good laughter there. Some good fun at the end.
Yeah,
Hopefully, it was enjoyable to the listeners.
Didn't
I'm-
overlap
I'm-
a whole bunch.
I am biased towards fun. I can say that.
Jeremy, all your
Hopefully-
songs are still hits, by the way.
That-
Soured on any of those.
that's
If you're out
that's why
there-
I'm here.
If you're out there listening, you should comment in, put in one of yours. Something we missed. Is there one that we missed from 2000, 2004 that's just like so hot at that time, but not anymore? Now
Yeah.
it's not.
Feel free to comment on our Facebook page when we post this video up, or email us at ptshoptalk@gmail.com. When I get this on YouTube, you can comment as well, and we'll chuckle about those. If somebody comes up with something awesome, we'll probably talk about it next time. But that's the end of episode 33. Thanks everybody for listening. As always, I'm Casey Hansen, and with me is Jeremy Van Klomberg and Nicholas Doling. Till next time, see you everybody.